The mysterious death of Mitrice Richardson. In the quiet, affluent town of Malibu, California, a strange and haunting tale began on the evening of September 16th, 2009. Mitrice Richardson, a 24-year-old woman with a radiant smile and a promising future, drove her car along the picturesque Pacific Coast Highway. Unbeknownst to her family and friends, this would be the last time they would see her alive. Mitrice had arrived at Jeffrey's, a luxurious restaurant overlooking the ocean, in the early evening. She dined alone, behaving erratically, and ordered a Kobe steak and an expensive cocktail. As the sun set, casting a golden hue over the horizon, Mitrice's demeanor grew more peculiar. When the bill arrived, Mitrice confessed she had no money to pay. The staff, concerned and confused, contacted the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. Deputy Frank Brower arrived at the scene, finding Mitrice calm but disoriented. "Do you have anyone you can call?" he asked gently. Mitrice smiled, her eyes distant. "I just wanted to see the stars," she replied cryptically. With no means to settle the bill and no clear signs of criminal behavior, the decision was made to arrest her for defrauding an innkeeper and possession of marijuana found in her car. Mitrice was taken to the Lost Hills Sheriff's Station, miles away from her vehicle and the bustling city. Her mother, Lettice Sutton, called the station, expressing her concern for Mitrice's mental state and asking them to hold her overnight. "Please don't release her in the middle of the night," she pleaded. The deputies assured her that Mitrice would be safe. However, around midnight, Mitrice was released into the darkness without her car, phone, or money. Surveillance footage later revealed Mitrice walking out of the station, a slender figure disappearing into the shadows. The next day, Mitrice's family, frantic with worry, discovered she had been released. A search began, but days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, with no sign of Mitrice. Flyers with her photo were plastered across Los Angeles, but hope dwindled as the days passed. 8 months later, on August 9, 2010, the mystery took a chilling turn. Rangers discovered a partially mummified body in a desolate ravine in the Montanito area of the Santa Monica Mountains. The remains, later identified as Mitrice's, were found in a suspicious state. Her clothes were scattered, and her body lay in a position that suggested foul play. The circumstances of her death raised more questions than answers. How did she end up in such a remote location? Why were her clothes removed? The autopsy report was inconclusive, ruling her cause of death as undetermined. However, the horror of the discovery hinted at a sinister end for the young woman who only wanted to see the stars. Conversations between investigators, filled with hushed tones and grim faces, suggested a deeper mystery. "There are signs of trauma, but nothing definitive," one detective said, shaking his head. "It's like she vanished into thin air and reappeared here under the most horrific conditions." Lettice Sutton, determined to uncover the truth, pressed the authorities for answers. She believed her daughter's mental state should have been considered before her release. Mitrice was vulnerable, and they let her walk out into the night, Lettice said, her voice filled with sorrow and anger. Rumors began to swirl around the town, whispers of a cover-up, speculations of foul play, and eerie tales of the haunted hills added a layer of horror to the tragedy. Some locals claimed to hear faint cries in the dead of night, while others reported seeing a ghostly figure wandering the area where Mitrice's body was found. As the anniversary of Mitrice's disappearance approached, a candlelight vigil was held in her honor. Friends, family, and supporters gathered, holding candles that flickered against the cool night breeze. Lettice spoke, her voice steady but filled with grief. "Mitrice was a bright light in our lives, and we won't stop until we know what happened to her." The case remains unsolved, shrouded in mystery and speculation. Mitrice Richardson's story serves as a chilling reminder of the unknown dangers that can lurk beneath the surface of even the most serene communities. The questions surrounding her death continue to haunt those who seek the truth, casting a long, dark shadow over the idyllic landscape of Malibu. The Night Stalker. In the heart of the sweltering Los Angeles summer of 1985, the city was gripped by an unseen terror. As the sun set and darkness cloaked the sprawling metropolis, fear seeped into every corner, whispering of a predator who hunted in the dead of night. This was the season of the Night Stalker, a shadowy figure whose reign of terror would leave an indelible mark on the psyche of an entire city. The horror began with a series of seemingly random, brutal attacks. Victims, both men and women, were assaulted in their homes, their sanctuaries violated by an unseen specter. The intruder left behind a macabre signature, pentagrams scrawled in blood, a chilling testament to his dark obsessions. "Lock your doors, bolts, chains, everything. He's out there," urged Officer Ramirez, a seasoned detective, during a community meeting. His eyes scanned the anxious faces of the crowd, trying to instill a sense of vigilance without spreading more panic. Among the terrified residents was Maria Hernandez, a young woman whose life would soon intersect with the Night Stalker in the most harrowing way. She lived in a quiet suburban neighborhood, a place where the loudest disturbance was usually a barking dog. But that was before the night of March 17, 1985. Maria was returning home late from work, her footsteps echoing through the deserted streets. As she reached her front door, a chill ran down her spine. She fumbled with her keys, her eyes darting around nervously. The feeling of being watched was suffocating. "Who's there?" she called out, her voice trembling. Silence answered her. Just as she turned the key, a figure emerged from the shadows, a gun gleaming in his hand. Maria's scream was cut short as a shot rang out, the bullet grazing her face. She fell to the ground, playing dead as her assailant stepped over her, entering her home. Inside, her roommate Dale Okazaki heard the commotion and tried to hide, but it was too late. The Night Stalker found her and ended her life with a single, merciless shot. Maria's survival was a miracle, and her testimony provided crucial clues to the police. She described the assailant's wild eyes, his disheveled appearance, and a horrifying realization dawned on the investigators. This was no ordinary criminal. They were dealing with a monster. As the attacks escalated, the city's fear turned to hysteria. The Night Stalker seemed to strike at random, his methods increasingly savage. He attacked both young and old, affluent and impoverished, spreading panic with each new victim. In another part of the city, sisters Mabel, Ma Bell, and Florence Nettie Lang were enjoying a quiet evening at home, oblivious to the evil that lurked outside. The tranquility of their home was shattered when the Night Stalker broke in. He bound and bludgeoned them, using electrical cords to torture them. The gruesome scene left behind was a testament to his sadistic cruelty. Detective Ramirez was now leading the task force dedicated to capturing the Night Stalker. Sleepless nights and dead-end leads took their toll, but he was determined. The case had become personal. "We're going to catch this guy," he promised his team. "We have to." The turning point came in August 1985. A breakthrough in the investigation revealed a connection between the crimes: a stolen car abandoned in East Los Angeles. Inside, police found a single fingerprint. The evidence was enough to identify the Night Stalker as Richard Ramirez, a drifter with a history of petty crimes and a fascination with Satanism. The hunt intensified. The city was blanketed with Ramirez's mugshot, his face a stark reminder of the evil lurking among them. It wasn't long before the public played their part in his capture. On August 31, 1985, a group of vigilant neighbors in East Los Angeles recognized Ramirez and apprehended him after a dramatic chase. They held him until the police arrived, ending his reign of terror. In the aftermath, the city of Los Angeles breathed a collective sigh of relief. The Night Stalker, Richard Ramirez, was convicted of 13 counts of murder, 5 counts of attempted murder, 11 counts of sexual assault, and 14 counts of burglary. His trial revealed the depths of his depravity, the courtroom scenes filled with graphic testimonies and the eerie presence of Ramirez himself, often showing no remorse. The nightmarish saga of the Night Stalker remains one of the most chilling episodes in criminal history. It serves as a grim reminder of the darkness that can lurk within the human soul and the resilience of a community united against a common threat. As Los Angeles healed, the memories of those harrowing nights faded, but the legacy of the Night Stalker endures, a cautionary tale of vigilance and the unyielding pursuit of justice. The mystery of the Jamison family disappearance. On October 8, 2009, a truck was discovered abandoned in a remote area of Latimer County, Oklahoma. Its contents hinted at a troubling story: a wallet, IDs, cell phones, a GPS, and a significant amount of cash. Nearby, a dog, starved but alive, paced anxiously. This vehicle belonged to the Jamison family, Bobby Dale, his wife Sherilyn, and their 6-year-old daughter, Madison. They had vanished without a trace, setting off one of the most perplexing mysteries in recent history. The Jamisons had driven to the Sans Bois Mountains to inspect a plot of land they were interested in purchasing. They dreamt of living off the grid, a desire that seemed more appealing given the economic downturn and the couple's fragile mental state. Bobby, suffering from chronic back pain, had been increasingly withdrawn. Sherilyn, too, was battling depression and had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Together, they were trying to escape their burdens and start anew. When the Jamisons didn't return, the authorities were alerted. A search party was quickly assembled, combing through the dense, rugged terrain. As night fell, the forest took on an eerie quality. Shadows danced between the trees, and strange noises echoed in the darkness. Searchers couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. Days turned into weeks, and the case grew colder. Theories began to surface. Had they been victims of foul play? Did they succumb to the elements? Or had they deliberately disappeared to escape their troubles? The discovery of Bobby's abandoned truck only deepened the mystery. It seemed impossible that the family had wandered far, especially with their young daughter and without any of their belongings. In the quiet of a November evening, Detective Ronald Benson sat at his desk, sifting through the Jamison case files once again. His phone buzzed, interrupting his concentration. "Detective Benson," he answered. "Ron, you need to get down here. We've found something," said Deputy Harris, urgency evident in his voice. Benson arrived at the scene, a clearing deep in the woods, illuminated by the harsh glare of portable lights. A local hunter had stumbled upon skeletal remains. The searchers' earlier unease seemed justified. As Benson approached, the weight of what they might have found hung heavy in the air. The coroner confirmed the grim discovery. The remains were those of the Jamison family. The cause of death was unclear. No signs of trauma or struggle were immediately evident. The positioning of the bodies suggested they had simply lain down and never gotten up. It was as if they had fallen asleep in the woods, never to wake again. The discovery answered one question, but raised many more. Why had they left their truck and walked into the wilderness? Why had they carried so much cash, yet left it behind? And most haunting of all, why did they lie down in that secluded spot, never to rise again? The investigation uncovered a series of unsettling clues. A security camera at the Jamison home had captured the couple's last known movements. They were seen packing their truck with an almost robotic efficiency, making multiple trips between the house and the vehicle without speaking or acknowledging each other. There was an odd, trance-like quality to their actions, as if they were under some external influence. Adding to the eerie atmosphere were Sherilyn's handwritten notes found in the truck. They contained cryptic messages, references to dark spirits, and a list of people she believed were conspiring against her family. Friends and family mentioned her growing obsession with the paranormal and Bobby's recent interest in spiritual warfare. It was said that the family had even attempted to perform an exorcism on their property shortly before their disappearance. Benson interviewed Pastor Gary Brandon, who had spoken with the Jamisons about their fears. They were convinced that evil spirits were tormenting them, the pastor explained, his eyes reflecting genuine concern. Bobby claimed he saw apparitions, and Sherilyn believed they were being cursed. They felt their only hope was to escape. The detective considered these revelations with a skeptical mind. Was it possible that their mental state had driven them to a tragic decision? Or was there something more sinister at play? Some locals whispered about the area's dark history, mentioning old legends of curses and hauntings in the mountains. Others speculated about criminal involvement, perhaps a drug deal gone wrong or a sinister encounter with someone they met on their journey. As the months passed, the case grew colder. Detective Benson couldn't shake the feeling that they were missing a crucial piece of the puzzle. He often found himself driving to the site where the Jamison family was found, standing among the trees, hoping for some revelation. The forest, with its thick canopy and eerie silence, seemed to guard its secrets jealously. One particularly foggy evening, as Benson stood in the clearing, he heard a faint whisper carried on the wind. "Help us," it seemed to say. He turned, heart pounding, but saw nothing. The sound was gone as quickly as it had come, leaving him to wonder if his mind was playing tricks on him. The mystery of the Jamison family remains unsolved, a chilling tale that lingers in the minds of those who hear it. Theories abound, but the truth lies buried in the dense forests of Oklahoma, where the shadows of the past continue to whisper their secrets. Whether it was the result of human frailty, supernatural forces, or something else entirely, the disappearance of the Jamison family stands as a haunting reminder of how little we sometimes know about those we think we understand.